G'day, we're here today at the Craig Norgate shed at Port Taranaki. This shed is a specialist facility built by AgriFeeds for the handling of livestock feed, mixing and preparing of feed to be trucked out around the agricultural centres of the country to feed our cows and anything else that might be hungry. This company uses a particular method to protect people from the dust in this environment. So the gear is fitted with these Brofil cabin overpressure infiltration systems. The idea of the system is that you deliver pressure into the cab and you keep the cab free of dust. And so the air that's pushed into the cab to deliver that pressure has been filtered to a very high level. The operating pressure in the cab is 120 Pascal, which is 100 Pascal being the European standard requirement. We've exceeded that. And that pressure, that dust has been filtered through a series of filters that make it safe for the operator. So the way that's done, this particular unit is designed so that the air intake is at the bottom. With the normal natural vibration of the machine, the material falls, a lot of the material just falls away from the P1, the first primary filter. It keeps it cleaner for longer. Once that air's gone through that P1 filter, you go to your P2 filter. So that's a level of filtration that does take out around about 70% of the PM, what's known as the PM 2.5 material, the respirable material. And then from there, the air is forced up and then down across the HEPA filter. So the HEPA filter has a very large footprint. It's quite thick. It's an H13 HEPA filter, and that will actually take out 99.97% of 0.1 material. It's very fine, it's very small, you can't see that dust at that level, but it is still harmful. There's knowledge around palm kernel, which this shed operates mainly with handling palm kernel, that the palm kernel has 0.001% of PM 2.5 and smaller material in it, so respirable material in that palm kernel. You know, if I was to take 3 tonnes of blue asbestos into an environment like this, I'd make news worldwide. So it's not as harmful, of course. It's not as hard as the asbestos and the RCS, the respirable silica, but it poses a threat to health. So the company provide their workers with this protection. The idea is that the cab always stays clean and their lungs are protected. Then also, as a secondary benefit, the heating elements, the cooling elements, the electronics of the machine are kept clean, because the air coming in is all clean. It's all secondary to the air conditioning system. It's plumbed in so that the air's coming in through the aircon clean. The filter changes, we look at the HEPA filter being changed every 6 months. In this environment, the fine dust filter and the heavy dust filter need to be changed a bit more often because there is more dust than normal, but if you're in a quarry site or in a more of an open outdoor environment and dealing with respirable silica, something harder like that, you might change the filters a bit less often than that. So it's not expensive over life. At Brofil, we provide this company with an agreement where we service the machines ourselves and we provide reporting. So they've got peace of mind, the filters are changed in time, on time, and there's a report that goes back into their system to show that their workers have been looked after to the best possible level that they can provide. The idea being that we don't want people getting sick. The European regulations for this type of equipment are quite clear. The system has to have a controller, and in the cab we have a controller that we call the AOC, the Automated Overpressure Control. And what that does is it makes the system automatic. The operator can't put themselves at risk by leaving their door open or smoking in the cab. It takes care that they have to shut the cab and allow the pressure to build. So what happens is they shut their door, the pressure rises to 300 Pascal and then levels down again to 120. And the controller informs the operator of that pressure level. It informs the operator of the status of the filters, whether they're becoming saturated and need to be replaced. And thirdly, if there are hydrocarbons in the air and you have a carbon filter in there, say for H2S or methane or ammonia, which isn't in this environment, but if it was, then there's a hydrocarbon reader as well included with that controller. So that's part of the regulations, is that the system is automated. It's not something that the operator can override and put themselves at risk. We take away that human error factor. The system also, it's built of stainless steel, coated. That's a requirement. It's a requirement that the air intake is not situated near the exhaust. We comply with all the regulations that are set up in Europe for this type of equipment. And in New Zealand, as yet, there are no regulations, but we would expect that the New Zealand authorities will gradually move that way. WorkSafe will find that they need to make people more aware of taking care of the health of their people. And that's certainly happening in other industries with respirable silica, with asbestos, and anywhere where there's fine dust created in an enclosed space.